All right, folks, with me, he's back again. The Jinja Ninja is in the house. James Harris from across the
Hello.
pond. Hopefully, you guys are doing good. He's doing good. It's great to finally get a chance to connect with you, brother. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me, my friend.
Thank you. Glad that the schedules are all working out now. We're here
Oh, I
together.
tell
The
you,
stars hath
it's
aligned.
I've inconvenienced this man a couple times with last minute changes and cancellations and stuff. So we finally got things to work out. It's so cool to do that, and I'm thrilled
Yes.
for you, man. I follow your Twitter regularly. It's good to see the commissions have been coming in. You've been doing a convention. We talked about that
Yep.
right afterwards. You got another one coming up, I think.
Yeah, and
So
next month. Well,
wow,
here
that's
in a
awesome.
week.
April, right? Okay. All
Well,
right.
it's at the beginning of May, but yeah,
Okay.
technically
Yeah,
I'll
next
be going
month.
up.
Yeah, because
I'll
this
be going up
this.
there in April, though. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So from the last time to now, how many more commission how much more, impactful has it gotten for you? Like, are you seeing, like, some exponential growth now? Like, you're seeing repeat customers? I mean, how are you
Well,
kinda seeing that work?
definitely at the Comic Cons, you're seeing lots of repeat customers.
Mm,
More so on the Japanese side. I The majority of my clients are Japanese because I live here in Japan. For those of you who are new and aren't aware. But no, I have people that have ordered 4, 5, 6 commissions. I've had people that send me pictures. They've got a wall of my artwork now, and it's really like humbling. You know what I mean? I'm like, it's my work up there. You've paid lots of your good, well-earned money to have my stuff up there. I really appreciate that. But at the same time, you're like, ooh, do I deserve it? Always have the imposter syndrome. It's always
always,
there in the
huh?
back of your
Wow.
mind.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a but no, no, it's been really great. You see a lot of familiar faces on Twitter, on Instagram, at the cons. So it's something it's a gradual growth, but I feel like it's going upwards. And we just at Tokyo Comic Con back in December. They got their final numbers. There were over 80,000 people there in 3 days,
Wow, that's
which is
amazing,
really
awesome.
good for Japan because like the increasing literally 10,000 people per year for these cons. So it's good to see. Yeah.
The links will be in the description, folks. If you have not
Mhm.
already connected with Jinja, you can do that. Let me give you one of my favorites. This is he shared this on Twitter. Just one of the commissions. Let me see if we
Ah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, let's see if we can change our layout here. How about this one?
Oh, that'll
Put
work. Yeah.
we'll put James over here. Nope, that didn't work. Let's try that one. There we go.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously, I'm a massive Predator fan. Many of us are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, it's gotta be a lot of fun. I know we talked about how much you enjoy doing things like Lord of the Rings and doing some
Yep.
fantasy stuff and things like that. What's it like being able to just do movie stuff or sci-fi
Yep.
things and things like that?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I love any kind of predator, aliens, commission, anything that's. I like doing the kind of scary villain characters because it lets you get a little bit more rough and you could be a bit more expressive with them. I find, but
Hmm.
this is actually from a repeat customer as well. A very young lady that if you met her on the street, you would never guess in a million years that she would be like a huge Predators alien fan. Um, but yeah, she ordered this one again, Tokyo Comic Con, and the crazy story is, I I I got this commission back in December, and she said she was going to send me a picture, a reference picture of what she wanted me to do. Because last time I did it with the mask on, this time we talked about having a mask off, and uh, I waited for the picture, it never came. I've emailed her a dozen times. I've tried to call her. I've tried to send. All I can't get in touch with her. I don't even know if this picture's gonna get to her or not. I don't know where she's at, but I just did it anyways. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send it off to her and hopefully she'll get it. I don't know what's going on, but it was weird this time around. I always go on tangents, apologize, but I've actually had a couple of weird instances this time around. One was a commission at Okinawa. I did the Miles Morales piece, a pretty big one, and the customer emails me the other day. I never got like she never like really posted it on Instagram or anywhere. I was thinking, oh, I hope she's satisfied with it. And then I get an email the other day where she says she sent it to her husband and she was waiting to post things until her husband got it into his hands. He got it in the mail, put it in his car, and his car got stolen with my artwork
Oh,
in it.
no.
Yep. So she emails me, she's like, I'm devastated, I don't know what to do, like, could you do, like, the same piece again, and I'll pay," the same price, same everything. I'll pay you again for it." And I'm like, "Yeah, sure. I try my best to do the same piece, and I'll throw in something extra as well because so this time around, a couple of instances that were not the norm, but again, satisfied customers, and that's what it's all about, though, making sure that they're happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the cool responses that you've gotten from folks that kind of makes it worthwhile like that? Like, I mean,
Oh, well,
you talked about the imposter syndrome thing, but I mean, at some
yeah,
point, you do have to know, like, when you see the smile on their face and you hear
yeah,
positive
yeah,
things, then it
yeah,
makes them happy. That
yeah.
that overcomes whatever imposter syndrome you may have about not being good enough.
Well, I think the one that hits me, his name is Usuke, and Yusuke is his actual name, but Usuke is like his Twitter handle name. And dude, the guy, he's a really huge fan, and he's ordered one, 2, 3, 4, 5 commissions off of me, I believe. And he has, like I was talking, he has the wall of commissions, including like 2 oil paintings. Uh, uh, and I did a Moon Knight piece for him, which was one of my favorite pieces from the last con. And he was just ecstatic about it. And I love seeing them put them up in the frames because paintings look one way when they're just like on the piece of paper or on a canvas, but once you put them in the frame, you know it makes them stand out so much better. And so whenever he sent that picture to me of like the wall of stuff, I was like, yeah, that's I guess I'm there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you are. You
Yeah.
are. Let's go to another one that
Sure.
is right up my alley. I'm a huge fan of
Ah,
the old
yes.
Ghost Rider stuff. So yeah, let's give it some love.
Uh,
What do you pull up like a comic or a reference? Do you just Google something? Well, because you clearly included like the
okay.
Marvel logo and the whole nine.
Okay. So this is actually a sketch cover for Angry
Okay.
Canadian. So that cover, I did not do that logo. This is the sketch cover, so it's just the blank cover with the logo and the Marvel on the bottom. So it's just like a white canvas with that logo. That's the Marvel logo. So I didn't do that, but I did the picture that is in there. And what I do is I just pull up a bunch of references and I just have a good look at them, and then I kind of throw the references to the side, and then I just kind of look at the blank uh, paper or whatever, in this case, the blank sketch cover, and just like an image pops up. I'm like, okay, there it is. All right, I'm going to draw that. And then I'll look back at the references to kind of get like details of like what the suit looks like or what the bike looks like, what the chain looks like. But in the end, it's you won't find that image anywhere else. That's a completely unique one. But yeah, that's kind of how it works.
From
So
your
I'm
experience
yeah.
with the blank covers, if you don't mind me ask real quick, because I'm
Uh-huh.
I'm curious of this as well. Is there certain ink or pens or something that works better than others that would be preferred, or would caution against someone using?
Well, I mean, they're basically you could use anything that's water based on those. I mean, you could use anything for pencil. Well, you could use inks. You could use watercolors, gouache. You could use. I've never tried acrylics on there, but I've done acrylic inks, and they all work perfectly fine. Um, I you wouldn't use anything oil based because oil based stuff will seep through the paper and it'll deteriorate and ruin the comic. Um, but those sketch covers, actually, the quality of the paper on there is pretty pristine. Um, you could use Copic markers on there. You could use, geez, you could use more things than you can not,
So
if you
other
know what
than oil,
I
you
mean.
pretty much safe
Yeah, yeah,
using
yeah,
just about
yeah,
anything. So I'm just curious because I
yeah.
think that it's something I'm trying to encourage my son to do is
Uh-huh.
because I'm a big fan of the blank covers as
Oh,
well
yeah, they're fun.
because it's such an original
Yeah.
piece. But
Yes.
also in my case, because my son does art, um, he's not really like a sketcher, a drawer like yourself. Like he's not. That's his arena. So if I can get original work from him like that, a blank comic is almost like a freebie. It's like, well, it's just like right there. It's Ghost Rider. You know Ghost
Yep.
Rider, right?
Yep.
Draw it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love that concept. And obviously Angry Canadian and I definitely bond over our love for 90s Ghost Rider. So I'm happy that he
Oh,
was able to find
yes.
something
Yeah.
that he can cherish like that. So
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm a huge fan of the '90s Ghost Riders. I've got a but I've got all the comics that I could get my hands on whenever during that time. They're all back there somewhere.
Yeah, that's
One thing
great.
about sketch covers, blank covers, though, they're the most intimidating artwork to do, though, through the commissions, because if I get a commission somebody and I pull out a piece of paper, I start drawing, I'm like, "Ah, I don't like this, I don't like where it's going," I throw it to the side,
Mhm.
which doesn't happen often at all. Like, maybe I could count the number of times that I've actually thrown away something I started working on, and just maybe like 3 or 4 times maximum. Um, but with a sketch cover, you don't have a choice. Like, there are no
You can't
redos.
do-overs. There's no
No.
do-overs on the blank cover. Oh, that's so true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, like, you're like, "Okay, this is it, whatever goes down," and it's more expensive for the customer because you're paying the amount of money that it costs for the comic on top of the commission, right?
Hmm.
So it's they don't have to pay for, like, well, their commissions, for example, if they buy something for $50, then for Angry Canadians, case, it's like a $15 comic book, and
Gotcha.
then so that's another $15 to it. So that's, more money in their court.
Right,
So
right.
you wanna give something that they're happy with, you know? Yeah.
Let's go back to another OG favorite, big one. I commented on
Ah,
you
yeah.
to you on this one. To me, I just think it's such an underrated film. I think people have
Mm,
lost sort of like the cherish of puppetry
y
and
yes, definitely.
stop motion even. But it's just,
Yep.
and then to be able to know that there's a fan out there who commissioned something
Mhm.
like this is
Yep.
just, oh, it warmed my heart. I couldn't believe it.
This was from Okinawa Comic Con. It was actually from one of the ladies that had a booth next to me. She works on base there. She's in the military, and she saw what I was doing. And there aren't a lot of people at these cons that do anything fantasy related. It's mostly, like, modern day, uh, Loki or Venom or anime looking stuff. Which, if that's what you like, that's what you like. But then she saw what I was doing, she's like, and then, she commissioned me to do this Dark Crystal work, and she had these 2 characters in mind, and this is at a very small canvas, so I don't have a lot of room to work with, and I wanted to get details, so I kind of put these 2 characters in, like, kind of a yin-yang, kind of thing, dark and light, good and bad, evil and, this is a really fun one to work with, and yeah, was ecstatic about it, and, yeah, I love getting those kind of, again, I think I put that in my comment. It's like I love doing work where I know that the original was like, it was all analog, it was actual puppetry, it was actually physically made. So, just having that in mind while I'm doing it makes it even more funner, if
I
that makes sense.
yeah, it's like I said, it warms my heart to see that sort of live on
Yeah,
in that way. Even if there's not a lot of fans of, a lot of us are fans, but you know what? The ones that are out there, we're still kind of rabid for it, and
yeah,
that was really something special. So that's great.
yeah.
Well, I know you're a big.
I
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was just I apologize. I was just gonna talk stop, like, what is it called? What is it called?
Stop
Uh,
motion.
Stop motion. I always forget the word. Um, I was talking to one of my students the other day, about Clash of the Titans, and we were just
Mhm.
looking at little clips of that, and we're like, "Ah, the owl is so cute. It has so much, like, life to it, and you get so much more out of it than you do something that's just kinda CG, you know?"
Oh, Jason and the Argonauts, man. You got to
Oh,
get
yeah,
that
yeah.
that skeleton fight scene and stuff,
Yep,
man.
yep.
Is just woo,
Okay,
great
yeah, I
stuff,
get
man. Yeah, yeah. Okay, because you love sci-fi and fantasy,
Right.
it's become a hot topic recently. You saw the Dune 2, right? Dune Part
Yes,
2.
yes.
Before we give your take on Dune Part 2, what is your take on Dune Part 1? And I
I
guess kind of even Dune
Yeah.
84, where are you kind of at on the Dune franchise?
Okay, Dune 84, I love how the atmosphere, and I love the settings, I love the props. The movie I wasn't a huge fan of. And the funny thing is I didn't watch Dune 1984, Finches, until after I had read the books and after I had watched the TV series on Sci-Fi. I believe it was a Sci-Fi TV series,
Mhm.
which I really enjoyed the Sci-Fi TV series a lot. And then, David Fincher's thing felt like, it's Dune in name, but it's so many things that just kinda, like, the pacing took me out, and the but we had, like, a big talk on that on Roman's show the other day.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
And, but the Dune books I love. I'm actually rereading them right now, and reading them in quotation marks, listening to them. The Dune 1984, there are aspects about it that I really enjoyed, but for the most part, it's not something that I really, gush over. And then the Dune, the first Dune movie by what's his name, Dennis Villeneuve. I can't pronounce his
Denis
name.
Denis
Denis
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. I absolutely love the first movie. I went there and I watched it in IMAX, and I was just, like, kind of mesmerized. I loved I was really, like, just sucked into the world. I absolutely adore that movie. I've watched it I don't know how many times since then. I find that the pace of that movie is extremely that's, like for me, the pace of the movie is really great. I love the dialogue. I love how there was just so many parts of the movie that I really, really enjoyed. And then I went into I because movies come out here so late in Japan, so the movie didn't come out until, like, I think 2 or 3 weeks after it come out in the States. So I was doing my best not to hear any kind of well, not spoilers is like what happens, but, like, what people thought about. I was trying to keep myself completely, like, have no bias whatsoever, go in there unbiased, and enjoy the movie for what it was. But you can't avoid it. If you're on Twitter, you'll see people's responses, and it looked like it was pretty, like, right down the line 50-50. Either you loved it or you hated it. So it reminded me of, like, how it was when people went and saw The Last Jedi. I was like, "Why is there so much hate, and why is there so much love according to Rotten Tomatoes?" So what's going on here? So I really try to keep that out of my brain whenever I went to watch it, and I have to be honest, I was not a big fan of Dune 2 at all. There
Okay.
were it felt like Hollywood got their fingers in it too much for me. It felt like they were trying to make something that the first movie wasn't trying to be a blockbuster, it was trying to be an artistic movie, and it felt like the second one was trying to be something that would bring people back to part 3, something with more explosions, more drama, like, unnecessary drama, between, I would say, our 2 main characters, Shawnee and Paul. And there were just some instances in the movie where it felt like Game of Thrones season 8, like, let's have some fanfare, let's get these 2 guys fighting each other. It's like, it's way too convenient. There was just moments like that. It just took me out of the movie. Mind you, there were parts of the movie where, like, when I was watching it, there were parts that had me laughing, parts that almost brought me to tears. But you can have all of that, but the the last third of the movie, if you just if you don't give it that attention to detail, if you're just rushing through things, then you've ruined the movie, in my honest opinion. And I felt like that's what happened in
Are you
my
disappointed
whole
over a
movie.
lot of the changes that they made?
Yeah,
Okay.
not. Um, I'm not especially disappointed in the change. It's how they were dealt with.
Hmm.
You could take the relationship between Paul and Johnny, and you could put that um, kind of tension between them in a better way. I felt like I was just getting annoyed with her character like every single second. It felt like the first half. I loved the relationship between them in the first half of the movie. I was like, "Ooh, this feels really organic. I like what's going on here." And then the second half, it just felt like, okay, this is really off. And I know they made the change, and I don't mind them doing the change, but it just felt really rushed and forced, almost like Game of Thrones season 8, when all of a sudden Daenerys decides she's going to burn down the city and kill everybody. It's like all of a sudden out of nowhere. That's how I felt with that.
Okay.
Um, and then they had like Gurney going up against I can't remember Dave Bautista's character. I can't remember the name.
Okay.
I'm horrible with names. It's like I'm gonna chop off his head, and then he goes and finds him at the midst of this huge, gigantic battle, and it's one-on-one fight. It's like, no, 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 sorry. That kind of stuff is like that. It irks me because it takes
Mm.
away from the the genuine parts of the story, and they take time away from other parts they should have dealt with to give you this fanfare moment. And I'm like,
Okay.
that's not necessary. And those are things that are going through my mind when I'm watching it. and I tend to be very critical of something that I really adore, so there we go. And I don't think I'm alone in this. I've seen other people make the same kind of comments, and I've seen other people, and I have friends, and sure, like other people out there that are just really, really adore the movie. And there are parts of the movie that I really, really, really thoroughly enjoy. But for the most part, I was just like, hmm. No, I feel like the first movie and the second movie were different approaches to how they're adapting yeah, the Dune story. And that's just
Well,
I might give it I'll give Dune 2 another chance, but, that was my initial thoughts. Yeah.
okay. Well, everybody in comments can let us know what they thought and tell James
Yeah,
if
feel
he's
free
right
to
or
attack
wrong
me.
and throw out there. Yeah, we'll clip this out even and maybe do his own little
Yeah,
the Jinja Ninja review section of this all.
yeah, yeah.
I
I mean
am not. I just can't. I've said it. It's okay. Take my card away. It's okay, guys. I just can't get into Dune. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've tried to read it. I've tried to enjoy 84. I've
yeah,
rewatched Dune 21. I'm with everybody. Dune 21 is a beautiful film. It's well
mhm,
executed. The
right,
sound is great. The editing is great. That is not what I'm saying. It's just to me, well, first off, I just can't get the Timothy Chalamet as an alpha character. I'm just really,
right,
really hung up on that. I know maybe that's a great interpretation of Paul Atreides, but for me, I was just sort of bored where all the characters that I'm enjoying
mhm,
I'm they're all being removed from the which is the story. I get it, but I just couldn't get into it. So my
yeah,
expectation for this or my desire to run out and see this is so much lower than everyone else's. So my expectation tends to be lower. So
I
then
hear
I
you.
tend to be like, oh, it's all right. I tend to
Yeah,
be a lot more
I
forgiving because my
yeah, yeah,
expectation
yeah,
levels are so
yeah,
much lower than other
yeah,
folks. But again, I do think I'm with you. I think it's sort of I think that technically the first film, Dune 21, is fantastic. I mean, that just
mhm,
technically it
yeah,
carries
right,
um, itself as an enjoyable watch, even when you're not like it's a good movie. You can have extra points, just even as someone who's not pumping it up, I can still grade it as about a 7 for me. It's like a
mhm,
three and
mhm,
a half star
right,
out of 5. It's a rewatchable enough film,
yep,
but not something I'm like a big fan of, right? Whereas the
right.
second one tends to be more like, all right, okay. It tends to
Well,
lose a point or so, but technically there are massive sequences, as you were saying, that are fantastic, beautifully
yep,
done.
mhm, mhm,
I don't know all this mythology and canon breaking, so I tend to not get bent out of shape like that, like I would with Star Wars or something else. Um,
right,
but I will admit I have sort of a similar reaction as I did the first movie. I'm sort of I don't want to say bored, it's too extreme, but I'm sort of like, okay,
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah, whatever, yeah,
okay,
meh, meh, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I this is for the second movie for me, I just felt like it was more of a popcorn movie. I know
Mhm.
that's gonna, like, upset some people, but it felt like they were trying to make it more like a popcorn movie. I was like
Right.
and I don't know what they're gonna do for the 3rd one. Like, if you read those books, the 3rd one, the majority of the well, I haven't read the 3rd one for a long time, it's been a while, so I need to go back and get to that again, but I know that they're trying to force this tension between Paul and Shani, and that's because 'cause they're trying to gonna carry that into the 3rd movie to keep people to bring people back, but I don't think that's the way you gotta go. That's just me. I'll
All
give it
right.
another chance. Yeah, we can move
Well, let's
on.
shift gears then. Let's go to something
Yeah,
good
yeah.
because you are
Oh, yeah.
enjoying.
Yes.
Well, first
Ooh.
off, we did mention
Yeah, go ahead.
you're in Japan,
Uh-huh.
and part of you being in Japan is because of a book that was huge and a
Mhm.
mini series that was huge when we were kids.
Yes,
Like
yes.
my mother, I mean, I have an autographed Richard Chamberlain card.
Yep.
I
Mhm.
mean, a trading card. So I mean, it's Shogun is was part of our upbringing. It was a
Yep.
massive thing. Talk a little bit about your Shogun inspiration as a kid before we get to talking about how much you're enjoying the show.
Yeah, I could tell you exactly, I'll try to condense the story as much as I can. Um, I the librarian knew that I really loved Japan. I like Japanese things. And so we took like a satellite course, a marine science satellite course. and they offered like a whole bunch of other courses, and she could get them all on the satellite, and she recorded Japanese classes for me, so I could study Japanese by myself at home. This is back when we had VHS, and she recorded all these tapes. I'd take it back home, and I'd study Japanese on my own. And the the teacher started talking about the book Shogun, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds cool. Let's go check this out." And I went to the library, and sure enough, they've got it there. And I remember finding it. Dude, I get cold chills right now, goosebumps. I remember finding it in the stacks, right? And this big, thick red book, and pulling it out, and I started reading the first pages, and I was just immediately just hooked, and read through that book a couple of times, and just like, I've gotta go. I've gotta I've gotta get to Japan one way or another because, I know this is fiction or whatever, but it just sounds like the things that they're explaining in there, and the settings, and the people's, attitudes and everything, the personality, the characteristics, all that kind of stuff, culture. It was just such a great read, and that led one thing to another. Next thing you know, I'm a foreign exchange student in Japan. So that's how Shogun hit me first time. And I remember I watched the Richard Chamberlain series once. I think it was once I was in Japan. Yeah, once I got to Japan, I watched it
Mhm.
while I was here. And yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. It had oh my gosh, Mifune. What's his first name or last name? Mifune. He's the guy who played Toranaga,
Hmm.
the
Okay.
Japanese actor. He
I
was the
don't
one
know
who's
that.
in all the Kurosawa. He's like
Mhm.
the actor who plays a lot of the Kurosawa films.
Right. That's awesome.
Um, and so, and I really love that miniseries as well too. Um, I've only watched it, I think, once though. For me, the book was it was the gem. But and I ended up reading other books by James Clavell, or is it Clavel? I don't know the pronunciation. But there's another one called Gaijin, which is basically the slang way to say foreigner, not the most honorific way of saying it. And then there was like Whirlwind, and I think I read another book by his, but I haven't read anything for a while. Did you know he was actually a POW during World War II?
No, but based on the
Yep.
context of his
Yeah.
writings, that would
Yeah.
not surprise me.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was a
that's good to know. Okay.
POW during World War II, and that's where he got a lot of his inspiration from.
Okay.
Um, so with this new anything modern remake, you're always like immediately, don't ruin it. Don't put your modern interpretation into it. Don't do that, please. And I have to be honest, like this new series is just amazing. It is really, really, really good. Um, I can't think of anything that I don't have any qualms with it at all. Like I've enjoyed every single episode. I look forward to every single episode like I did Game of Thrones in those first few
Hmm.
seasons. You know what I mean? Um, so this latest episode too, it's just it's like what 40, 45 minute, 50-minute episodes, I believe it is. And they even
Mhm.
have at the beginning, like previously. They there was so much that happened in this episode, but they put it together so well. And they took what happened in like several chapters, and they were able to put this into this like one episode so well, like highs and lows of emotions. It's just the tension that they built up, the acting, everything about it. It was just beautiful. It's perfect. It's really, really good. Um, so yeah, I mean, I have nothing but compliments about this new series, and it's my favorite thing that I'm watching right now. And whenever I saw what they're able to do in these 4 episodes so far, and I'm like looking at something, I'm going to bring it back to Dune 2. Like, you don't need all that other extra crazy, flashy, poppy explosions, bang, bang, pew, pew. Just stick to what you got with the dialogue that you originally had. And just stick with that. The reason these stories are so popular and famous is because they were written well. It's a pretty easy equation. Yeah,
Yeah, and it seems
yeah,
that, and I didn't really do any research on who's behind the Shogun TV show to
right,
see who is the fan, who is the person
right, right.
driving. the train. I don't know. I
Right.
mean, I will go
Yeah, I
down that
don't either.
rabbit hole.
Yeah,
I'm sure other people
yeah,
we can let us know. I know
yeah,
Zach's has done if he's not done multiple streams, I think he's planning
yeah,
to do
yeah,
multiple streams.
yeah,
I get it.
yeah.
Because usually that's what it comes to. It comes to just someone who's so rooted in their love of it,
Mhm,
they
mhm.
keep it pure and honest and that kind
Yeah,
of
you could tell they love the book. They love everything about the book. They're really doing their best to and again, I haven't read the book for a long time, so I'm sure that they're making changes a little bit here and there. But what I really like too is a lot of the actors and actresses aren't like even the main actor who plays Toranaga, he is famous because he stars like in like Tom Cruise movies or whatever. But if you show him to the average Japanese person, they won't know who he is.
Hmm,
He's not that popular here. So that's what I like. They've got like a lot of actors and actresses who are like really big street, like mainstream people. They're really, really trying hard. You know what I mean? They're just not like mailing in their performance. They're really getting into their characters.
that's
Uh,
true.
the one,
That's true.
the one thing I was a bit worried about was Blackthorn. At the beginning, I could tell they were trying to get a James Hardy guy. Like they've
Hmm.
obviously tried. Like, okay, let's try to get somebody. Was it James Hardy? No, Tom Hardy. Sorry, Tom Hardy.
Okay. Right.
Why am I saying James Hardy? Tom Hardy. Like, the guy's totally got Tom Hardy vibes. So I was a bit worried if whether or not he was being able to pull off that character, but he's doing a fantastic job. And this latest episode, to the tension between I don't know if you're keeping track of it or not, or if you're following the show,
I'm
but
not caught up, but it's okay. I'm good.
uh like
Yeah.
just yeah, I'm it's got rewatchability too, which is what I love.
Yes,
Like you
that's
really
gonna
want
be
to go back and
something.
watch it again. Yeah,
Yeah, agree.
yeah,
Agree.
yeah.
All right. Well,
So a lot of
we've been
compliments on
pops talking
that.
through your art. We've been pops talking through Dune and talking a little Shogun, that kind of thing. I know that you're not able to devote the time, and then also obviously in Japan you have limited
Yeah,
access
yeah,
to
yeah.
a lot of comics and that kind of thing.
Right, right.
Um, but I was relaying to my son, you as an example, because you have sort of a library of references is what you told
Yes,
me. Like I'm
yes, yeah.
trying to I don't know how to draw, I want to try to get some frames. So it's like this
Oh, yeah.
library that builds of things that were inspirational for you, right?
Okay.
So with that, I had
Mhm.
set aside something to show you because if you don't have it, I thought of you because this inspired me.
Yeah, I've been looking at that in the background the whole time. I was like, "What
This
is
is
that?"
my Electra. This is
Ooh.
my Electra omnibus.
Ah, look at that.
Bi-
Sekovich.
Bill Sinkovich, yeah.
He is
Frank Miller. So
yes.
again, my gateway was Frank. Anything that had Frank on it in those
Yep.
early few months, if not
Mhm.
years, it was like I'd buy it. And then eBay, I just someone had a new copy,
That
and
is
it just
amazing.
went through an auction for next to nothing.
I need
Um,
that
isn't
immediately.
this amazing? It's well,
His
it's gonna run you a little bit. They're not because it collects everything, right? You're gonna
it
get
yeah,
Electra Assassin. You're gonna get some of the stuff. So you're getting like you're
look
getting
at
the
that
black and
artwork.
white work,
Yeah. Ugh.
and you're gonna get the color work.
Yep.
Because you're getting, I think you get because you get, yeah, you're getting all of this.
Ugh.
Let me change that.
I've actually seen that somewhere on, I think they have it here in Japan on Yahoo Auctions. I'm going to check that out.
Yeah,
Uh,
so it has
it's
sort
just
of like
disgusting.
it reprints
So good.
all of these, which is
Yes.
crazy.
I love that bottom
It's
left-hand one.
yeah, yeah,
The
it's awesome, huh?
the farmer's wife. What is it? American Gothic. That's the name of that
American
painting.
Gothic, yeah,
American Gothic. Yeah. No,
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so I always get his name wrong. Sienkiewicz. I've heard
Sinkovich,
people
Sinkovich.
yeah, I've heard people pronounce it like a billion different ways. So,
Well, of course,
every
we
si
didn't know anything about their pronunciations if you had never met the man. So
yeah,
growing up,
yeah,
we were like Sienkiewicz, or see, we were
yeah,
like kids, like we didn't know.
yeah.
So
He every there there are some artists who I've watched their tutorials and everything, and there's this one French guy, and he's like, when you're sitting down and you're thinking about what kind of style you wanna do, what kind of art you wanna do, sit down and think of 5 artists. Pick out 5 artists who you absolutely admire and you love their work. Sit down and just look through their stuff. Absorb that. and let that become part of your, like, repertoire. And Sikovic, I'm just gonna call him
Mhm.
by whatever I'm
Yep.
gonna pronounce his right for wrong forever. So I like to call him Sikovic. Sikovic. He is like my top 5. Uh, it like everything that he does, and never ever, if you like the guy, do not check out his Twitter. Do not go to his
No,
Instagram or
no, yeah,
Facebook.
we're
Don't
not
do it.
yeah,
Yeah, just
this is one of
don't
those
do
that
it.
we don't need to know what he's
Yeah,
like in real life.
yeah,
It's
just don't
okay
do
to
it.
just
Yeah.
not yeah.
Yeah, just don't even think about it, just love his artwork for what it is. And you can't I could separate the art and the artist easily with this guy because his art is just next level. Um, for me, off the bat, like 5 artists that I just absolutely adore, whose work I always have in the back of my mind when I'm doing work is, Sekovic, Frazetta, Kent Williams, let's see, who am I forgetting here? Um, well, of course, Van Gogh. Do I have one more? Oh, geez, I can't choose one more. Musha. I love Musha's work. Yeah, so those are 5 big ones.
Hmm, okay, okay.
Yeah, but,
I knew
hi
about Kent
his
Williams. We talked extensively about Kent's
yeah,
impact on you and teaching a class and all that. And obviously, when I knew about Bill. I don't know that we talked about it, but I'm like, obviously, that's Jinja Ninja work.
yeah,
I mean, it's
I love
clearly
his it's just something where you have to turn off you have to it's such a difficult thing to do, like, when you're drawing and painting, you have to try to turn off your brain. You have to try to, like, not overthink things and just l there was a YouTuber who was talking about this. They were going into you know, the woohoo, like, kinda the aliens and going on acid and finding those little elves or whatever, but they brought up a good point about, like, how the many artists just talk about it's almost like you've got an image that comes to you out of some kind of, I don't know, other kind of plane, and in order to get something that feels very something that works, something that's successful, and something that feels genuine and real, you really have to turn off your brain. And you have to allow your subconscious to have access to that place by ignoring what's going on in reality. It's such a difficult mind state to get into sometimes. But Sikovic, he has that ability. Just with all his splatters and everything that's going on, the guy, his brain is completely turned off when he's doing that, and he's just it's almost like some kind of maestro conductor, having the whole orchestra, just he's just in that zone. That's what he's like. He's like a Beethoven with the pen and ink and the watercolors and stuff. I would love to watch him work live. I think that would be an experience that's without doubt like very very valuable. But yeah, every time I do something, I think, wow, I hit it out of the park. I just take one look at what he's done. I'm like, nope, you're not even close.
so. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, plug yourself real quick and where what's going on and some different things with you, and then, we'll check
Real
out.
right now, just working on some new artwork for upcoming Comic Con, Osaka Comic Con from May 2nd to May 4th. I believe those are the dates. Um, right now, I'm just trying to work on some. I've hired a model to do some posings for me because I want to do some fantasy related art. I've actually finished one piece here last night, so this is a little piece right here. I've got her doing some elf kind of poses and attire. So I'm doing a lot of color studies right now. Following, I don't know if you've heard of the artist named James Gurney. He did like the Dynatopia series. He's got a good book called Color and Light. I'll throw that here. I don't know if you'll be able to show this or not later on, but any artist out there trying to get a grasp on color and light, this is the Bible of that. Please check that out if you can. Um, yeah, so I'm just getting ready for Osaka Comic Con coming up, and that's about all right now. I do have a couple of exhibitions. My work, I've actually got my monotypes that I did of Batman and Joker and other comic related characters. They're up in Miyazaki right now at a gallery. So that's going on, and got some other fine artwork up in another gallery. So a lot of stuff happening on this end of the globe that a lot of you out there will probably not be able to see, but yeah, nonetheless.
All right, folks. Well, listen, it's been great hanging out, James. We appreciate you so much. Folks, click everything in the description. Make sure connected. There is actually at the top of his Twitter like a pricing table, so you could reach out to him. You could email him. You could do something like that. Who knows? That's what I plan on doing whenever he's going to come to the states. I plan on figuring out how to get my hands on some Jinja Ninja or take a blank cover over there and give him something to do while he's hanging
Yeah,
out. I don't
yeah.
know. We'll see. But listen, brother, the best to you. You know, I'm a huge fan and I love hanging out with you,
Uh,
brother. And we'll talk again soon. Okay.
okay, man. Thank you for having me on again. And until next time, keep doing the hard work that you are doing, and all of us we appreciate everything that you do out there, man.
Awesome.